Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to a Christmas meal prep video. Today I'm going to show you how you can prep all of your food ahead of time for Christmas so that when it comes to the big day you can actually enjoy the festivities. So in today's video we're going to be prepping the roast potatoes, the carrots and parsnips, Brussels, cauliflower cheese, stuffing, pigs in blankets, and gravy as well. I'm going to prepare it all, put it into my freezer, and then before the big day I'm going to take it all out the night before, defrost it, and then all I have to do is put it in the oven on Christmas Day. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, give it a big like and subscribe if you're new. And with all that said, let's get into the video. So I'm going to start out with my carrots and parsnips. So super simple. I'm just going to peel them. I'm also going to chop them into batons, and then I'm going to parboil them for about 6 minutes. So behind me there's a big pot of water on the heat, and I've put some salt into that as well. So then once they're all chopped up, I can just put them in, and obviously you can use however much veg you want. I'm using a lot of carrots because I know the kids love the carrots and a lot of adults do as well, but I've also got about 4 or 5 parsnips. I'm personally not a huge fan of parsnips, but my husband really likes them. For me, I don't know what it is, but they taste a bit like perfume. Let me know if anyone else feels the same, but I'm going to make them for the people that do like them, so I'm just chopping them up. And obviously I know that this video is coming out I think a week before Christmas. I probably should have done this earlier for you guys, but even if you have any spare time over the next week and you are hosting, this is something that you could do. So now I have boiled them for about 6 minutes, and then what I'm going to do is lay them out on a tray to completely cool, and then I'm going to put those trays into the freezer. By doing it this way, it means they don't freeze in one big clump, and once they are frozen, I'll transfer them into freezer bags to save space. And then when I cook them on Christmas Day, I'll actually take them out the night before to defrost, and then on the day I'll roast them for about 30 minutes on 200, and I'm going to add loads of runny honey, a little bit of butter and rosemary as well, and they are delicious. Next up, I wanted to show you how I'm going to make pigs in blankets. Obviously you can pre-buy pigs in blankets, but it is so quick and easy to make these yourself, and when you do make them yourself you can choose the quality and type of sausage that you want, and also the type of bacon that you want, and all you literally do is wrap the bacon around the sausage. So all of this took about 10 minutes. I am making a ton of them because we have a lot of people coming, and also they don't last 5 minutes. The kids love them, everyone seems to love them, so I'm making quite a few. Even if I have some left over, I know they will eventually get eaten. So I've actually got like a festive bacon which is a little bit sweet and really nice, and I've got some nice quality sausages as well. So I'm literally just going to roll them all up, put them into a tray, and then when I'm doing a second layer of the pigs in blankets, I will just put a little bit of parchment paper or baking paper in between the layers so that it doesn't all freeze together. And then when I go to actually cook them, again I'll take them out of the freezer, make sure they are completely defrosted, and then I'll cook them on a baking tray in the oven for about 20 minutes on 180 degrees, and that is it. Now we're on to roast potatoes. I feel like roast potatoes is such a good one to meal prep because they can take quite a bit of time to peel all the potatoes, chop them, parboil them, rough them up, you know, all of that. If you're doing it on Christmas Day, can take a bit of time, so it's great if you can do it a little bit before, even if it's the day before. Obviously I'm going to put this into the freezer, and I'm using a ton of potatoes. I've got some Maris Piper potatoes, I've got some King Edward potatoes, pretty much whatever was in the fridge is what I'm using. So I've peeled them, I've cut them into like a roast potato size. Some potatoes needed to be just in half, some quartered, and then I'm going to add some water and then put that onto the stove, and I'm going to parboil them for about 8 minutes. I'm also adding a little bit of salt into the water as well, and then after they've boiled for about 8 minutes you'll want to strain them, and I'm going to let mine dry in the strainer for a minute before then putting them back back into the pan. And then once I put them back in the pan, I didn't show this, but you put the lid on, give them a really good shake to kind of rough them up a bit and give them like crispy edges. And then I'm going to add in some salt and pepper and also a little bit of plain flour as well. And then once that's all done, I'm going to give it like a little bit of a mix, and then I'm going to lay them out on baking trays as well. Again, I'm going to let them cool completely, and then I'm going to put the baking trays into the freezer. So just like we did the vegetables, I'm going to do the same. I'm also going to add in a little bit, well, I'm adding some oil on top, a bit more salt and pepper. But whatever your chosen fat is to cook your roast potatoes, you can put some on now and then also have more on the day when you cook them. So yeah, I'm going to freeze these, and then when I come to cook them, again, I'm going to defrost them, but then put them into the oven and cook them on about 200 for about 40 minutes to an hour until they're all nice and crispy. And honestly, freezing them doesn't make them less fluffy, less delicious. It really does work. Now we're on to Brussels sprouts. So I'm not a huge Brussels fan, but my husband loves them, and I know so many other people do as well. So I'm going to make this very easy Brussels and bacon dish. So all I'm doing with the Brussels is cutting off the bottom bit of it and then pulling off a few of the outer leaves if they're a bit dirty, and then I'm cutting them into 3, or if they're very small, I'm just cutting them in half and then putting all of that in a bowl. For this recipe, you'll just need bacon lardons, Brussels sprouts, butter, and salt and pepper. I'll put all of the recipes in the description down below if you want to check them out. I actually got this recipe from someone on Instagram called Delicious and Real, so I'll link to her. I actually saw her speak at the Clean and Tidy show. So for this one, I am browning the bacon lardons in a frying pan and then adding the Brussels and then giving it all a really good mix for a few minutes, and then I'm going to add in the butter and some salt and pepper as well. And what I really like about this dish is that once it's all done, and obviously we're going to freeze it, and then on the day we're going to defrost it, but you don't need to put it in the oven. You can actually microwave this dish for about 4 minutes, so it kind of saves on oven space if you're short on oven space. So that is pretty much it, but it smells delicious. And then I thought it was also worth showing you guys that for the turkey, I actually get a turkey crown. I've actually got 2 of these. They say they only serve 4 people, but honestly, they're pretty big. And then next up, I also wanted to show you my absolute favorite. This is what I'm going to be eating on Christmas Day. Cauliflower cheese. I love cauliflower cheese so much. I could eat it as a meal on its own, and it's so simple and it freezes really well. I feel like anything that is dairy freezes so well. So anyway, I'm steaming 2 heads of cauliflower that I've chopped up. I'm going to steam it for about 7 minutes, and then while it's steaming, I'm going to make the cheese sauce. So I'm going to make this simple cheese sauce as I normally would. So first up, I'm going to melt some butter. This was about 100 grams of butter, but obviously it depends how many you're making it for. Then I'm also going to add in 100 grams of flour and then mix that together until it's a paste. And then I'll very slowly add the milk in, and then I'll just keep mixing until it's a nice smooth consistency, like a thicker consistency. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of Dijon mustard in and some pepper as well, and this is exactly how it would make the kids cheese sauce for macaroni cheese as well. Then once it's nice and thick, you turn the heat off and then you add in half of the cheese. I think I had 150 grams of cheese, and then you just put your cauliflower into the tray or the tin and then cover it with the sauce, and then with the other half of the grated cheese, I'm just going to put that on top, and that is literally it. It is that easy. And then yeah, I'm going to wait again for it to completely cool and then put this into the freezer. And next up, we are making stuffing. So for this, I've got some white bread, some apricots, egg, onions, and some sage and mixed herbs as well. This is so easy to make. I know you can buy stuffing, but it is actually really simple. So all I'm doing is I'm going to chop up 2 onions. I've got this handy little onion chopper. It doesn't need to be plugged in or anything, and it gets it really nice and finely chopped. Saves you from crying as well. So I've chopped up the onions and I'm going to put that on to soften for about 3 or 4 minutes in the frying pan. Then I am blending up my bread, and then I'm also going to chop up all of the apricots as well and then add that to the breadcrumbs. And then once my onion is fried, I'm also going to add that in, and then about 2 teaspoons of sage and then 2 teaspoons of mixed herbs. And then I'm going to beat to the 2 eggs, salt and pepper as well. And then I'm going to beat the 2 eggs and then add that in and give it a good mix. I started mixing with my spoon, but then I thought I'm just going to mix it with my hands. And then once it is all combined, then you can start making balls with your hands. So I'm just going to make like these little stuffing balls. I'm going to put them onto a baking tray with lined paper, like baking paper, and that's pretty much it. And then again, you can freeze them as we have the other things, and then I can then transfer them into a Ziploc or freezer bag. And then I also wanted to show you how you can pre-make gravy for Christmas. So I actually ran out of time when I was filming today, but this is footage of me doing like pre-making gravy a few years ago. You may actually recognize our old kitchen. But I really love the Jamie Oliver gravy recipe. So I will link that one down below if you guys want to check it out. I think it's really tasty. But any gravy or jus that you want, you can pre-make that, freeze it in a Ziploc bag, and then have it ready for the day. And with gravy on Christmas Day, once it is nice and hot, I actually serve it in like a thermos jug so it stays nice and hot on the table. Okay, but that is pretty much everything that I wanted to show you. I've got my turkey, pigs in blankets, stuffing, cauliflower cheese, Brussels, roast potatoes, carrots and parsnips. We are ready to go. It's in the freezer. All I have to do is get it all out and stick it all into the oven or microwave, and that's pretty much it. We haven't talked about desserts, but that is what other people can bring, and I have also stocked up on quite a few chocolates. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's inspired you to maybe prep a few things. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.